the Future Sound Project podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Future Sound Project podcast, and today we're speaking all about branding. I'm here with my brother Jay. Hi Jay.
Hello, how are we?
Good mate, how are you?
Yeah, sound as a pound.
Sound as a pound. We had the best branding for our first band ever, didn't we, Jay? Do you remember?
Yeah, so we made probably every mistake in the book when we were trying to brand our first band, and only because we were really naive and didn't really know how to go about it. So we were called the Egos for obvious reasons.
The worst name ever, yeah. Because it kind of gave us that branding originally, so everyone kind of didn't like you before we'd even started. So that was that one.
Yeah. We also then decided to make ourselves really cool that we'd put
it's a dash or a hyphen, wasn't it?
A hyphen between the E and the G, and an apostrophe after the O and the S, which meant that our name was never right on any poster. It meant that when people try to find us on Google or on whatever search engine that they'd be using, impossible to find because we'd spelt it differently. And even if someone tried to find us on Facebook, unless they put the hyphen and the dash in the right places, and just couldn't be found. We changed we changed our logo probably monthly. We went through different styles of clothes, and we just basically were trying to. I think it was kind of true for what we were as a band, that we were trying to find out actually who we were and what we wanted to stand for, and we hadn't really worked it out. And eventually, when we did start to get some interest from managers and things like that, the first thing that they said to us was, "You're actually doing really, really well, despite the fact that your branding's really poor and your name's absolutely abysmal. So that needs to change." And that's what happened. So yeah, hopefully we can learn something today from people who are actually getting things right and really leading the way in these types of areas.
Yeah, well, we've got the Darius from the New, band from Birmingham, who are just doing great things, but their branding is so on point. It's really consistent, and every single post you see, that's from the New. Which I suppose that's what you want to see. Kate from She-Wolf, who does a podcast, a blog, she's an artist as well. Her branding is just immense, to be honest. Go and check that out. So it'd be great to hear. They can teach us something, can't they, to be honest, mate? So
they can teach us a lot.
Let's get them on. Hello and welcome, Kate. She-Wolf podcast, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. And we've also got Darius of the New. Darius, how you doing?
Hi, yeah, good, thanks, man. How are you?
All good. At the start of the first 3 podcasts, it is now podcast 4. At the start of the first 3 podcasts, we've asked people what they're drinking. Kate, what have you brought to the party today?
I've got a glass of white wine.
Glass of white wine.
I was going to go for a white wine spritzer, and then I couldn't find any more lemonade. So I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to have to go in and just, that's it. Just to deal with it.
in the rainbow glass as well, liking it.
Got to be extra.
You got to be extra. Darius has just woken up, so I text Darius about 2:30. I was like, Darius, mate, why aren't you getting back to me? And he honestly said, which is now 25 to 4. He honestly said, I've just woken up. So,
it's bad.
Darius, you having warm milk or?
I'm having a cup of tea.
No,
Makes sense.
But I do have a beer. I'm not going to drink it, though, because it's from a long time ago, and it's just one of those things that just gets left in your room, and you're just like, oh, that's just going to stay there for ages. But it's present. There's a beer around.
What is the cup holder that you've got that in?
Oh, so basically, my sister lives in Australia, and she got it back for me. And when she got me this, I was like, I had a beer in my room, and I was like, well, this can go in here, and it's just stayed there for like years.
It's now that just needs to stay there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just a part of the room now. Like it's like I can't get rid of it.
Yeah, love it. And Jay, you all good?
Yeah, sound mate, sound. I'm on the Strongbone Black, so
same as last week, you know.
Last week, mate, it's lockdown essential. I got about 20 of them from Asda and working my way through them. So yeah,
other stores are available.
Yeah, none of them will deliver to me though. So
yeah, that's so true. So yeah, Kate, I feel a bit sorry for you, to be honest, because Darius has been living in Birmingham the last year or two now, Darius.
Yeah, since September 2018, I think.
Okay, so then I feel like Kate might need, I don't know, translator maybe for today's podcast, because.
I'll be all right. I lived up in Leicester for 3 years. I should be all right.
Okay, you should be fine. Now,
you sound.
Kate, it's great to have you on. The inspiration, I suppose. Well, I came onto your podcast in December, and that was really great. And I talked about potentially we might start a podcast, and when we do, we'll get you on. And this is the day.
Yes.
Here we are. So we're going to be talking about branding today. The reason we asked you both to come on is because both the New and the She-Wolf podcast just have such strong branding that we wanted to get your ideas and help people that might be thinking about rebranding or just knowing where to start with it all, really. So I suppose the first question that I'd just like to pose is where do you start when you're branding it's hard to say product, isn't it? When you're branding yourself as an artist or as a podcaster, where would you start? So, Kate, where did you start, and explain what your branding looks like and things like that?
Yeah, so I guess basically I went and did an arts degree, and then after that, obviously, there's no bloody way that you can just become an artist off the back of that. So you go and get a job and all that crap. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and learn everything I possibly can from like every company I work for. I want to know the ins and outs of how do you run a store, how do you do this, how do you do that, and from there I just picked up bits and pieces. Like I ended up managing a small boutique in Notting Hill, so basically ended up having sort of like the reign on how you present the whole company, which was really cool. And then from there, I always thought I don't really want to do this necessarily 100% about fashion. I want to do about music. I want to do about punk music more so than anything, and all that kind of stuff. And just naturally just moved into that area, just bit by bit. And like the whole idea of She-Wolf just sort of honestly just kind of came to me. It came to me out of the necessity of not like I had to leave my work because I became very, very ill, couldn't work. So I was like, right, I can't just sit here. I'm going to go crazy. So like, right, what can I do? Bang, there's the blog idea. I knew that it was there. So I was just like, how am I going to market this properly? How am I actually going to get it out there? How am I going to do this as a proper, like, how am I going to treat myself like a business? Because if you're going to get out there and do something these days, you've got to treat yourself like a business. You've got to treat yourself like you're selling a product, which is, it is annoying. Don't get me wrong, but that's just how it is. And if you want to get somewhere, you've got to play the game, right? So I just thought about, okay, so who's my target audience? Like, number one thing, you've got to think about your audience. Yes, okay, you've got to think about if you're an artist, how are you going to put yourself out there? But you need to think about who you're aiming for. Because if you, for instance, if you're in a band and you get to sit in front of, the big guys, the fat cats in the recording studios, and they go like, who do you want to go for? And you go, I don't know. They're not going to want you. They want people who know what they're about, know who they are. So you've got to just know what you are. And that's where I came up with the idea of She-Wolf. I've been called that before, so I was like, I can reclaim that, can't I? Like, I was like, that's always been said like as a horrible thing, and I've always been like, hold on, Shakira, like that's a good thing. So I was just like, let's put that forward. I was like, let's just twist it on its head a little bit and just start writing about what I like to write about, what I want to talk about, and from there the right people will come anyway. And I had an idea of who I wanted to go for, and naturally that's come back to me. And it's about collaboration as well. Like, it's the number one thing. If you don't collaborate, you're not really going to get anywhere. Like, it's the biggest thing, collaboration. Collaboration has helped my platform grow immensely. In the last 2 days, it's grown hugely because Pam Hogg, the fashion designer, took one of my articles, posted it on her thing.
Right, hang on, Kate. I thought you were going to say 2 days ago it exploded when I announced that I was going to be on the Future Sound Project podcast. And then you just You kill me. You shoot me down in flames, just right there in front of the whole of our watching audience.
Sorry.
Oh, we've turned into robots.
But yeah, like it's about getting out to the right people, and also looking at, okay, so who are the right people at the moment, like on Instagram out there, you know, who's not massive celebrities, but who are like celebrities that you can possibly go and talk to, and then that builds up your brand as well. And usually they're really cool people, man. Once you get to talk to them, they'll help you out. Like there was a couple of podcasters that I started talking to when I first started out, like Ariel Free from BBC and stuff like that. Yeah. The coolest girl in the world. She has helped me so much with like how to get my work out there, who's contact. I also met a guy from Pyro Radio and started that all himself. It's a massive radio like station in London. He did that himself, and he's just given me all the tips that I needed about how to get the brand out there, to contact people, and the collaboration was just that. How
were you contacting people, Kate? Really?
Get sort of, get a guideline about like an introduction. Put an introduction out there. Say who you are, what you're about, what you want to do, and also, like, this is the thing I learned from retail: sweeten up the person a little bit. It's okay to do that. Like sweeten the person up. Say, look, I really like your stuff. Really like this. Really like that. Love to have a chat with you. And you've got to remember, like, I hope no celebrities watch this, but celebrities have egos. So if you rub their ego a little bit, they're always going to like that. It's just learning how to talk to people in that kind of way. And then straight away they want to work with you anyway. So that's a tip for higher up people. If it's about like bands and stuff that you want to talk to, just chat with them, man. They are always usually the bloody nicest people out of any kind of creatives I've ever spoken to. Like they are so collaborative and wanting to talk and wanting to like just do work with you. So they're easy to go for. But yeah, higher up people, sweeten them up. Just just put an instruction out there and sweeten them up a bit, and it always works.
You know what?
Grace Campbell, and she's difficult, and she was easy to sweeten up. So you
can tell that Kate has her own podcast, can't you, Jay? Can you see? Like,
yeah. Words not having 3 podcasts.
You know what? We've got no more questions now. That's it.
I'm so sorry.
Join us next week for.
Tick.
I tell you what, though, Kate, it is amazing to see how you've just built that. You've built your brand, built your podcast, just from scratch. You blog, everything else. Your artwork is amazing. If you want to go and have a look at it, I saw you posted one about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, mate. I was up till 3 o'clock this morning. I was just like, oh, I've got to get this done, and then I don't know.
Creativity, isn't it? But Darius, I think Darius must have been helping you with that at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's late night. But Darius, tell us about you. So you're slightly, you're frontman of a band, upcoming band in Birmingham. You all based at BIM?
Yeah, we all are. Yeah,
all based at BIM. And what's really, really quite special with you guys is that you've doing some DIY shows as well, but there's such a clear branding. If you want to explain where that came from and why you're doing what you're doing and what it looks like, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. It's basically like the branding that I kind of have is like tried to go for this sort of like weird apocalyptic party vibe messages. So it's quite like, I don't know, it's the kind of thing that like, I don't know, it would like appear on like a TV screen, like a propaganda message or something like that. But it's actually just like an invitation to a party. That was the idea behind it. And like the reason we sort of started, I was going for that style was, I'm not gonna lie, right? I was just getting like really annoyed with like having, because the thing is that like now as an artist, it's like it's like a critical part of your career to post to social media and stuff. Yeah. And I sort of went through this like phase of like just hating it, and I was like, well, what can I do? And I was like, well, I want to kind of like make it look something that I can look at and not be like, oh, here we go again. So then the way I sort of like came up with it, I sort of like had some ideas. I used to do this like pink and black thing, but I sort of like, I started off really simple when it was going well, but then I just sort of like, it got a bit out of hand and I just started doing loads of like really colourful stuff. And then the sort of like the strength of the brand sort of was like lost a little bit, because like consistency is obviously key with branding. But then, I ended up going to like the Modern Tate Gallery in London. That's for my mum's birthday, I think. That's nice. I think it was that. And then I went there and I was just like looking around. I had some new, like demos in for songs and stuff. And I was like, looking around at things, I was like, yo, like this is like I was getting proper inspired, and then it literally came from that day. I started like really like getting the idea for like the messages together and stuff like that. And then yeah, it sort of came from that really. And like after doing a few of them, and it was just like sort of like the page is sort of becoming more filled with his messages. It just became more fun, and I just carried on doing it.
I think that's the thing. I think I'm having a look now. I think your first time you did in your current branding style was around August last year. So you've been so consistent for the last year. It reminds me of the Nintendo NES. I don't know if you know that, but the Nintendo NES, I think it was like 1989, Jay. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Jay. Was it about 1989?
Right, so yeah, it was about 1989, but it's that kind of 2D kind of almost kind of like space kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that I heard about it, Darius, was like when me and Tom were in a band, we would sometimes have a clear idea of how we wanted to have a brand of our band, and then we'd do it for 2 or 3 months, and then we'd get bored. And then we'd say, well, actually, this is where the way we should brand ourselves. And actually, I think we were a little bit kind of, I suppose we kind of got influenced too much by what other things were coming up. So we were always unfashionable in some ways because we were always following what the latest kind of thing was.
Yeah. It was a bit like, the vaccines have just done this, so let's have a look at that. Oh, but Miles Kane's now using pink and black. Let's do it.
Yeah. What I like is the fact that you've stuck to it, and kind of like that then actually becomes a part of what your product's about.
Yeah.
Would you feel nervous about stop doing that, or is it not actually, or is it, as you've kind of described, it's something that's kind of come about quite organically? Would you just be happy just to kind of like just start doing something different?
So something that I've been looking into recently, because I did suffer from that same thing that you guys have. Like, you want to switch up from time to time. You want to keep things fresh, and it's difficult to find a way to do that. Keep your brand consistent. Something that I'm trying to do, because I don't think I'm going to have this style forever, but I want still things to be associated with it, like from this style, be associated to the next one. So like there'll be things from this style that I'm going to carry over to the next one, but things that would change. So I don't know, if I like go into another EP or something like that, or an album or something like that, I would probably, like, my idea is to keep the turquoise thing and then like sort of change everything else around it. So there's still something you can associate with like there. Because I literally the same thing. Like, since we've been in lockdown, I've been like, I want to change my brand up a little bit, but then I'm like, no, like stick to it. But then like there's things you can change and like expand. You can expand the brand without changing it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something I've found with She-Wolf. Like, because I've stuck to a similar sort of colour palette, I've been able to change everything in between that, so I don't have to get bored with it. So like keep to like a colour coordination or something that you can keep towards, and then like you said, expand it however you want after that.
Yours are like pinks and purples, aren't they?
Yeah. I used to have I had the turquoise in there that was very prominent, and I was like, actually, I think I can use that a little bit less, and then put the other two colours forward, and then I can use different sort of formats to put the pictures in and stuff like that. But as long as it's got that format of like in purple, then that's the branding. And always, She-Wolf is always in the same logo. It doesn't matter what, it's always in the same logo. That is one thing I learned from there was a Mary Kwan exhibition at the V&A, and she's like the queen of branding. Like, absolutely, she managed to take her fashion label to, I don't know, like makeup, everything. She was one of the first people to like pretty much get into fast fashion, as it were, which is quite bad now, but like at the time it was very revolutionary. And that's how she did it. She just stuck with the whole idea of branding. Like, Mary Quant, the name Quant was the name, and once you saw that everywhere, you're like, I want to buy from them, I want to get from them. So as long as you have the same logo and it's clear and cut, like you can really tell what it is, then you're fine. Don't have and when it comes to logos, it's got to be simple, nothing too nothing too over the top, because people they go, oh, I can't read it, and you're like, oh, so just make it simple.
Yeah,
we've all seen them like metal band posters, and they just look like it looks like a hedge, like exactly. The band, we have so many funny, like, there's so, like, literally in like one of my group chats, like someone would just like put it in, just like found another one, and then they make me laugh, man.
Love that. I've got a question here, which is kind of touching on the same kind of thing. Someone's asking, when building a brand, how often should you post on Instagram?
Once a day, 2 max. If you push it to 3, like, people will start getting really annoyed and they just unfollow you. Like, that's what I found.
In terms of story or in terms of feed?
Stories are fine. Stories, like, don't be too spammy. Like, but you can put up like 10 stories a day and people would be fine with that. Like, that's okay. But when it comes to like actual posts, 1 to 2 max. Try not to do 3, purely because people just go, oh, she's spamming, or they're spamming, but they get people quite fickle on Instagram, I found. So like they'll unfollow you for the strangest reasons, and that is one of the reasons. You just post that 3rd post, they'll be like, no, I'm cool.
What about that in terms of the band though, Darius? Because as a band, you might not have something necessarily, not to say, but to announce or something. Yeah. So trying to keep to that optimum of say 2 posts or 1 post daily, so you're always fresh in the mind. How hard is that to do as a band?
I think it is. I do think it's difficult to make it sort of seem like you're not trying to constantly like sell something to people, because it's like, or like just sell yourself to people rather than actually something that they want to see. Like, I think the best way around that is to like make things like do sort of like arty things and things that they'd like to see anyway. Like just because. Like, or, I don't know, even if you say you've got like you're announcing like an acoustic version of a song in like 2 days, like I don't know, like release some sort of like just release something that's nice for people to like when they look down the timeline, they're like, oh, that's nice. So if it looks good to them, then they're not going to be like, oh, that's nice. They'll just be like, oh, what, like it just looks nice on your feed because there's so much stuff that's just like you're like, oh, this person's posted again. But yeah, it is difficult. I struggle with it, to be fair. I used to be okay with it, but then like I don't know, because my styling is quite it's quite simple. I feel like I can't post every day. I should really. I post on my story a lot though, but I'd
say about this, Darius? Like I come to a point where we've got we've got colours that we'll stick to, but then you might have like a photo from a gig that you want to put in. But if you put that photo in, when you actually look, say we're talking Instagram here, when you actually look at that page, the actual picture with all the other tiles doesn't fit.
No.
So with that, is it about making a cover and then a swipe to view the photo, or is it just who cares? What do we think about that?
I used to do the swipe thing because I wanted it to look proper, just like message stuff. But I literally, for the first time yesterday, just put like a photo up and like made a cover and still had the font there. There's a band like I recommend, right? They're a Birmingham band and they're amazing. With their branding, I think is like one of the best. They're called Violet. Honestly, like that, like I take a lot of inspiration for like some of the stuff I do from them. I sort of use them as like a sort of like go-to for like because they've literally got it to a T. Like they have like the branding and they have photos and stuff in some and then just text in the other, but it's all like seamless. It all works, so they're not limited in any way. With what
we had Violet play for us. Do you remember, Jay? I think they were about 14.
Oh, really?
Well, interestingly enough,
had them at lots of times.
They're a band who rebranded.
Yeah.
They were a band very
called Jay.
Lies.
Yeah, Cold Ocean Lies. Yeah, that's what they were called.
And kind of rebranded. So the question that I had about it was, can good branding cover for bad kind of content? Or so the other way I suppose looking at it is that if your branding's really good, can that cover for the fact that what you're doing isn't actually as good as what it could be? Or vice versa, could bad branding, if your content's brilliant but your branding's terrible, does that mean that actually that you? So I suppose which one would get more traction, essentially? Because my opinion was, if your branding was terrible, you're probably not going to get as many people interested in the first place. So actually, if your branding was really good, you might get people to come to the gig. They probably ain't going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back if the product or the songwriting isn't as good as what it would be. So what's kind of more, not more important, but where's the kind of line between those two?
What I've found is that if you've got really good branding, like this is again one of the things I learned from one of the jobs I had. Like the owners of the place had all the money in the world, so they could spend it all on branding and stuff like that. But it was the worst company I've ever worked for. Like the ins and outs of it, like everything was bad. Like everything was horrendous. And yeah, they did well because eventually they didn't. But at first, for a good year or so, they did really well because they had all the branding, they could push everything, they had all the contacts, they had all this kind of stuff. And they had people modelling their clothes, like top models, like modelling their clothes, all that kind of shit. It's easy to push it. It's easy to fake it. But when it comes down to it, once people scratch the surface just a little bit, they'll realise and they will go. But it just depends how long that's for. It's quite easy to do. I think with bands, it's a little bit different. If there's a gig going on, once they see the product, they'll be like, nah, don't want to see that again. Like, what the hell is that all about? Do you know what I mean? But if it's like fashion or anything like that, you can swindle that so easily. Like all the big fashion brands do it. Like a lot of fashion brands do it. A lot of artists do it. A lot of bloggers do it. I know a lot of people who just it's very easy to do.
Yeah, it's I completely agree with that. It's the kind of thing where like it's like your social media is like it can entice people to it is an enticing tool for artists and stuff, and they use it as like an advertisement thing for what they're actually trying to show you, which is like their art or their fashion or their music or whatever. So like if you do have good branding, it gets you a long way. And it is a shame when you like see these bands when you're like your music's amazing, but like labels like when you're looking for labels looking at you and stuff, they're gonna look at your art, your branding and stuff, and your social media, and if it's not like good, they're not gonna like they're gonna be less likely to work with you. Like for example, I used to work, well, I kind of still do work for them, but I don't really do anything for them anymore. But there's a company called Spin Up, right? And their Universal Music's like distribution service. Yeah. And we had a meeting in London last year, and someone asked, they were like, oh, so like, what are you looking for in artists at the moment? And they literally just went, we literally don't care about the music. Just check their social media. If it's good and the numbers are high, we will look into it. So it's but the thing is, at the same time, sorry, that doesn't mean go and spend loads of money on Facebook promotion, because the thing is, it's like you said, it's like they'll scratch the surface, and if you've got like 10,000 likes something on Facebook and you only bring in 15 people to your show, which I have actually seen before, which is quite bad. Like they'll just be more uninterested by the end of it because you would have wasted their time.
And word gets around as well with that kind of stuff. Like once the word gets around, like you can't fake that stuff. So it only works for so long, especially like with music or like art or anything like that. Once the word's out, you're kind of like it's not going to last long. So and
I think if you've got such a large engagement with people, and then you're still only attracting a small number of people to your show, then that obviously is probably telling its own story, I think, in that kind of way as well.
I do think it can be overdone as well, though. Okay, this is just they're not like a pet hate, but they're like, I don't really hate a lot of artists at all. I love loads of artists, but the Hunter, right? We're all aware of what the Hunter did when they became big. Sure, like when they literally just like basically what they did. They spent like 200 grand on Facebook promotion or something like that, and then they literally like it was on everyone's feed like all the time, and like though everything was great, like the music was okay, like it wasn't anything. In my opinion, I thought it was good to start with, but like it wasn't like whoa, like who are these guys? But because like they appeared on everyone's feed, they just got the reputation of that band that appear on Facebook all the time. Yeah. So like with advertisement and stuff. Like you got to find the right line with it, otherwise it can go bad in the opposite direction as well.
Just going off a big topic, do you remember when U2 appeared on everyone's iPhone?
Yeah,
exactly. People get so angry.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah, it's so funny. I suppose the thing is with labels, though, especially small labels, they haven't got enough money to, like maybe in the old days where they could take a band, help to brand a band, help to design what they were going to wear and really focus on their sound. They kind of need the ready-made product now, don't they? Because they haven't got that money to just go and splash and invest. Whereas obviously if they can see someone that's already got the views, already got the sold out shows, already got the branding to go ahead with it. Like for example, you guys, you carry that brand onto the stage, don't you, Darius? Do you want to explain what you try and do on the stage as well?
Well, basically, like, because it's like black and turquoise, we all wear black suits, and everyone else's shirt is white, but mine's turquoise. And then we sort of we have like blue flowers and stuff everywhere, and then like I bring stuff from I try to bring stuff from our music videos onto the stage, so like props and stuff onto the stage. It sort of makes like this immersive experience.
I
Like,
love
thanks.
that. I love that stuff.
And face paints.
Yeah, but we did face paint. We did like glitter and silver glitter and stuff like that, which is like something that's almost a tease of like where the branding is going. But like I've had that sort of plan for a while, so like people like I've kind of like given a bit of it away now. I shouldn't really be talking about it, but yeah, no, it's still, but yeah, no, it's to be fair, yeah, it is. It's just it's all about like. It's all about like it's just all about like making it strong as possible, and like people like I don't know like so if we wear glitter at our shows, like maybe like some people in the audience will, if we wear turquoise, like it makes it more of a thing that like people can engage with, and like it makes it more human as well if they can see it's not just like a digital thing. Would
you like that, Darius? You can imagine if, say, like, let's imagine I see the newer do new stocks, and I come playing wearing what you're wearing, and I'm gonna put some glitter on my face. I know everyone's watching this.
Honestly,
would you be pissed off? Like you've come like, or would you like the fact that I was
wearing white at a wedding?
Yeah. Oh no, we lost Darius. Oh no, Darius has gone.
That's how angry he was, mate.
He's so angry, he's blown up. Right, we'll stop the recording there. I'll edit that little bit. Well, that is quite funny to keep, actually. But we'll keep that, and then we'll continue. Right, just so people know what's been going on. So Darius's router needed to be reset. So that's why we press the reset button, and we're back now.
Yeah, that's my bad, but we got like a Wi-Fi extender thing, and it's from like 2011, I think. It's old.
Darius has the AOL modem.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, no, I would not be pissed off, and you would definitely be crowd surfing by at least the second song. I'd make sure that happened.
Right, I can answer a question on Blind Date.
What? A blind date?
I'm not going to answer the question. Like, that's a normal question. I tell you what, that's to the contestant number 2. I wouldn't mind, and you'd definitely be crowd surfing by the end of song 2.
I've just like replayed it in my head, and like I've just realised how much like that sounded like.
Hang on, let's do the recreate the blind date, okay? So I'll be Cilla Black.
Okay.
No question,
Jay, you can be. Okay, yeah, you be Cilla Black, Jay. I'll be the person that asks the question. I'll be contestant number 2, and then Darius can say what he had to say. Okay, so Jay, you be Cilla Black.
Well, I mean, that's pressure now, in fairness, like. She's
you don't need to do a Scouser accent. You just.
I'm not, no, I definitely can't do that. Cilla Black, if she was from the Black Country, you know what I mean? So, Tom, do you have a question for contestant number 2, which is Darius from Birmingham?
Darius number 2 from Birmingham. I want to know, if I came to your show with glitter all over my face, then what would I be getting?
So, Tom, you would be getting 1 song crowd surfing pass from the new for your valiant efforts in trying to turn up in the best way possible. That wasn't what I said the first time. No. You know what? I was trying to think of something good on the spot, and it didn't work.
I'm going with contestant number 1, mate. You
no
chance to take me. That's it. I'm going elsewhere, mate. I'm gonna go with I don't know, Ryan Pinson off episode 1.
I'm leaving. My internet's gone again. Sorry.
So yeah, we've got another question here. People wanted to know about social media platforms and with your branding. Is it best to post on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, spread it, or just focus solidly on one social media platform? We'll go to Kate first and what she thinks may be best there.
to be honest with you, like, don't worry about Facebook too much because you can just link that with your Instagram anyway. So, like, once you put your Instagram as a business account, you can literally link them up. So, I wouldn't, be that bothered with Facebook. If you're a band, it's a little bit different because obviously you want to update your gigs and stuff like that. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more admin on that side. So, yeah. I would concentrate on that a little bit. But on Instagram, you can link them up with the content-wise. So, I wouldn't worry about that too much. When it comes to Twitter, it's okay. It's just really slow building though. So like, don't expect anything off of it straight away. It's a real slow builder, but the people who do follow you, they will really like your stuff. Like they're following you because it's not, I haven't found it as sort of a spammy kind of thing. I haven't. Anyone who's followed me with She-Wolf has actually liked it. And that's why they'll like every single thing I do and stuff like that. So you'll get more of a club kind of scenario there. It's feels a little bit more inclusive sometimes, even though it's, takes a while. But Instagram's the best one, really, because that's the one where it doesn't matter what like industry you're in or what you want to do. Every single big company or what have you within your industry, they want to look at Instagram. They want to know your numbers. They do not care about they do not care about Twitter, really. They don't really care about Facebook. Unless you're a band, it's slightly different still, but it's Instagram. Instagram is the biggest feeder for any kind of big brands wanting to work with you.
And what's the goal amount of followers on Instagram, do you think, Kate? What's the goal?
That's right. Okay, that's the really irritating thing. So it's gonna takes a while.
Sorry, it's been irritating.
Oh no! It's just like it's irritating how long it takes for you to get like proper recognition from it. So like realistically, we're talking about, I know, like 20,000. If you've got 20,000 followers, you're going to get brands coming to talk to you like bang, bang, bang. They're going to talk to you all the time.
And we're very proud of that.
Look, I've only got like my 700 and something. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got like that many followers. Yeah. People who are following me really like the stuff. So that's why I'm not that bothered by it because surely I'm working with the right people anyway. So I'm having a bit more patience with it. But once you get to sort of like 1,500, 2,000, you'll start having people just wanting to work with you anyway. Like smaller brands will be like, oh, I quite like what you're doing there. Can you work with me for this and stuff like that? Bands, that happens the same thing as well. But then once you get to your 3,000 mark and up, you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about it too much.
I have to just say, I'm burning up so much. I'm in a room in the upstairs. I'm so hot in this room. This is like sitting in a sauna. I feel like I'm on stage right now. I feel like I'm right next to. I feel like I'm next to Darius's blowing up router. That's how I feel. I'm that hot. It's unbelievable.
You're sweating.
That's what I'm saying, Matt. I'm doing a workout.
I just noticed that actually. Yeah.
You also, the way you're sitting looks like you could be on an exercise bike there.
What? Yeah, Jay, to be fair, it was locked down. I had to buy one. You know, I had to buy one.
Open there, mate.
How else am I going to sculpt this body?
Chinese food, mate.
I know, mate. Those chicken balls are taking an absolute hammering at the minute, so I need to cut back. Anyway, back onto the branding. So we had to rebrand because just over a year ago now, we were a promoters company called Baddies Boogie. And we did that probably for about 5 years, didn't we, Jay? Would you say?
Yeah,
about 5 years. Then we worked with another promoter, Birmingham Promoters, quite closely, but still with the Baddies Boogie brand. And we just wanted to go back by ourselves. But we didn't really feel we wanted to go back as Baddies Boogie because of, I suppose, because we could see the importance of branding now. We wanted to start again, learn mistakes that we may have made as promoters. And that kind of was with branding as well. So we've gone through that process just over a year ago, coming up with that logo, coming up with something that we felt represented us and something we thought was, a lot fresher than what we were doing before. Have you guys got any tips? Let's pretend that I'm a podcaster, I'm an artist, photographer, band member, whatever your creativity is and you put it on Instagram. Jay's shaking his head when I said, any of those things, like, can't do it. Even a promoter, can't do it.
Not a promoter, was never a band member.
Yeah. But have you got any advice for them starting up? Because we have had such a good response of people who are saying, yeah, it was a real good laugh, but we've actually learned something here. So I know there's people that want to use some of this information. So let's kind of try and think of a couple of tips that we can help them. Darius, first, what would you say?
I think, I'd say like, I don't know, something that I noticed with you guys that I think is really cool. The actual like name Future Sound Project has a lot of buzzwords in it for the industry you're in, and I think if you can,
so
that's cool, man.
You know
honestly,
what? Here's what he's doing. He's doing what Kate said at the start of the podcast. Flattery gets you everywhere.
she said celebrities, mate, not flipping people who are riding a bike in their upstairs bedroom.
That is true. Mate, look, what is going on my face? Anyway, Darius, you were flattering us. Back to the flattery.
It's cool. Yeah, I'd say like definitely. I think at the start, like, don't do something extravagant that you're going to struggle to be able to recreate it on like a daily basis. Like, do something simple that if you need to post something in 10 minutes, you can quickly go on. I don't know, even Microsoft, like my first one I did was on Microsoft Word, and it was pink, like just a pink and black thing. But like, because it was just like all over my Instagram, like if you choose choose one nice font and just a plain background, that can travel to start with. So like, just like something simple that you can create easily. And do it on everything, like simple and consistent. That's the best thing I could say. And like, if you do get new ideas and stuff, always run them by someone before you're going to post them on your social media, because I don't know, say if your whole thing was like yellow and green, and then like that was just your thing for ages, and then you're like, oh no, but I want to put this like little like purple square or something like that. Run it by someone first, and then just see like, oh, do you think this fits with what we're doing at the moment? Like, I'm sure a lot of people give you a good enough opinion on whether they think the colour fits with what else is going on. So like, get feedback as well from different people.
Good advice, Kate.
Well, coming off of that point, actually, one of the things that I've kind of like really gotten into is like working with the right apps to work with social media. So like, for instance, when you're talking about looking at, if you want to change something up and you're not sure, there's an app called Preview. If you add that to your phone, you can literally preview your Instagram before you even put anything up. So you
really?
you can structure your whole Instagram, and then you can be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's going to work. Oh, maybe that's not going to work. You can just basically just see if it's going to work. And if it does, awesome. And then you just start posting, and it will automatically add on to the Preview app. So you have like a real lifetime with it at the same time. It's really handy.
As well on that.
Yeah.
You can schedule on it, actually. I don't schedule things because I just do like, you know what, I'm just not very disciplined. But you can schedule stuff on there. And then like there's another app as well called Film and Over app. They're really good apps to be making, like, where I do like the videos and stuff like that. I basically just layer up like different photos, and I do that through Over app, and then I just condense that into a video through Film app, and then you can do it like that. It's just, if you don't have the money,
hang on, Kate, hang on. Let's get a piece of paper out and just Over app.
I'm doing the same thing right now. Like
video below, you see Over app and Film app.
Is the fact that this is going to be like, this is being recorded to be published, and everyone's writing this down now?
Yeah, as well. Get it?
Yeah,
no one's got any intention of listening to this again.
But there's another app called Films, and that's Film, but with another M at the end of it, and that's a really good app to do all of your like video like bits and pieces with, and it just takes the sort of bullshit out of having to edit things all the time. It's so long to have to sit there on a computer and like get this bloody thing up and like, spend several hours on it, when you could literally just go onto your phone quickly, splash, and it's done. Sorry,
I'm just laughing. The only reason I'm laughing is it's just flashed up on my phone. Darius's text. How do I get back in?
I figured it out.
It's flashed up. I don't know. In your phone pod it says knock. You have.
I'm still waiting. I was just still there. Like, these guys are just like, what? Like, why am I not allowed back in or something? Like,
you're out, mate. One strike.
Allowed back in with your trainers on.
Yeah, literally.
I have to say, Kate, though, I think that's actually going to be really helpul for us. So we'll give that a go, won't we, Jay? Yeah. Darius, you going to give that a go?
I actually am, because I've literally I was thinking basically I've had some ideas of like sort of like still sort of things because I'm adding photos and stuff in now, and I still wanted to preview some like I wanted to test some things out, like and see what it looks like on my feed anyway. I've been thinking about it for ages. I just didn't know that was possible, so I'm so thank you for that, because I'm literally gonna download that right now.
Yeah, they're really, really handy. And like I said, it just takes the kind of like bullshit out of it. It takes the stress out of it as well. It's way easier to deal with. And like with the other apps with editing wise, yeah, it just takes the nonsense out of it. And like, it's all well and good to be like, oh yeah, I know how to use Adobe. I do know how to use it, but I'm telling you, as somebody who knows how to use it, it's kind of nonsense. Like, use the apps. They're like, they're there. It's straightforward. You know what you need to do, and you don't have to feel like you're like, oh no, I'm stupid because I don't understand how to do this. No, it's fine. That's made to actually be difficult for some god knows reason. Like, these apps just take the nonsense out of it, and you can actually create really good stuff. Like, I've been able to do like replicas onto like the YouTube videos now for the podcast, and like make videos from that, and that's just yeah, you can do loads of different things with it, and it makes it look really good. So
Amazing.
Nice. I think that's really yeah. So
go on.
I was gonna say, I think that like an app like that is really good, because there's a lot of people in lockdown that probably feel like for like music videos or something, that they feel like, or some sort of video content that they feel like, oh, like we can't go outside, do this and that, like whereas apps like that, it's the kind of thing you can get on your phone, and you can still create content for your audience.
Exactly.
That, like, you like, yeah.
I don't see, like, if you like, I kind of get irritated when people think that they can't do something, because it's like, oh, I don't know that, and it's like, no, like that's so silly. Like, you can definitely do it. Like, we're in year 2020 now, like, where there's so many things that you can do on, like, technology wise, and they're making it more simple for a reason, you know. And it's all about you just putting your own bit of personality with it. So like, as long as you've got like the good ideas of colors and, you know, your logo and stuff like that, go for it, have fun with it. That's really what creativity should be about, especially when it comes to social media, because let's be honest, like, social media can be stressful as it is anyway. Like, you're thinking about follower count and all this stuff. Like, you don't need to be stressing about what your content looks like. You should be able to use something that's really easy to be able to put your stuff out there, you know. Like, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be difficult.
Last question, and then we're going to have to wrap up. Question is about using hashtags. People aren't getting much joy with using hashtags. Do you have any hints or tips about using hashtags to boost your brand? For me, with us, if we take it with us, we find that probably the hashtags that have got like 50,000 or maybe more, or 500,000 to 1 million posts, you're probably only going to get seen for probably 1 second, if someone even clicks on that. I suppose it's looking for the niche ones, which are around about 1,000 to 10,000 maybe, where you're actually going to stay in that feed a bit longer. But there is still, it's not like I've just put up a hashtag going, Darius left me on our video chat, which will have one post. You know what I mean? People actually are posting on it. But what do you think, Kate?
I think the niche tags are really like a really good idea. So, like, for instance, I'll put like London feminist blogger, instead of just being like, you know, feminist blogger, I put London feminist. So it's like, okay, anyone from London who's feminist, like, they might be able to see it. You know, there will be people looking at that, or like London artist, you know, like you know, or there is this hashtag World of Artists that I have used, and like, even though it's got loads of people looking at it, like, there's like, I think it's like 1 million or something, you do get quite a few people through that. So there's certain types of hashtags that you can use that will encourage people to look at your site, but it depends. It's really, you've got to figure out which one. So for instance, with our hashtag World of Artists, always gets people looking at your work. There's recently hashtag Artist Pledge that will get people looking at your work. With music, I would definitely 100 always put the genre in that. Every time I put the genre in any of my posts, bang, people are straight away on it, and they love it. If I will put like hashtag punk, and then like the amount of people that will start following, and I'm like, yes, because they're totally the type of people I'd hang out with, totally the type of people like I'd enjoy having a good time with. Do you know what I mean? So it brings the right people along. So think about who you want to bring along to your brand as well whilst you're doing that, and that feeds all back into it.
You know what I love about this? I think for the first, this is now the 4th podcast we've done, and Jay, I don't know about you, but I'm learning loads, which we will take on. And it's been great for people to actually open up and just let us know their kind of like their secrets, their hints and tips. And I suppose it's collabs or the collaborations the way the world's going at the minute, and that's been great. We're gonna have to leave it there. Thanks so much, Darius from the New. Go and check the New out. Go and check the tracks out. Kate from She-Wolf, check out her podcast. You know, you may hear someone you know. You may do. Check out her great content. Jay, what should we do next? I've got an idea for the next one. My idea, I want to do about sound check because I think that could be quite funny. We can get some of our favourite people on with that and taking the mick out of some of the funny things.
I could write a book just on sound check from either A, when we've been in a band, to B, watching some bands turn up to sound check with nothing, to the awkward silence that you get once someone's finished the song and people don't know whether to clap or not.
Yeah.
That would be such. Oh, mate, that would be such a good. Like, I've got already so many stories going through my head about that. There's so, like that's a really subject.
It's hilarious. So I think let's get sound check on the go.
Let's get sound tech on as well.
We'll get sound tech. Yeah. We'll get a sound tech on 100%. And that's going to be fun. So thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Keep yourself safe. Big love to everyone. See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.